Hi everyone, it's Deacon Bob again, and today I'm going to read a story that's called Caps for Sale. It's a story that was written back in 1940, really a long time ago. But I think you'll like the pictures too. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like any ordinary peddler, carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on the top of his head. And first he had on his own checked cap, and then a bunch of gray caps, a bunch of brown caps, and a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight, so as not to upset his caps. And as he went along, he called, "Caps for sale! Hey, caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street calling, "Hey, caps for sale! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody wanted even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'm going to go for a walk in the country," said he. And he walked out of town slowly, as to not upset his caps. He walked for a long time, until he came to a great big tree. That's a nicer place for me to rest," thought he. And he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as not to disturb the caps that were on his head. Then he put up his hand to feel if they were all straight. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, the brown caps, and the blue caps, and then the red caps on the very top. They were all there, so he went to sleep, and he slept for a very long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed, felt really good, and he was rested. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. But all he felt was his own checked cap. He looked to the right of him, no caps. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked in back of him, no caps. And he looked behind the tree, no caps. Then he looked up into the tree. And what do you think he saw? On every branch sat a monkey. And on every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. The peddler looked up at the monkeys, and the monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. And finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," shaking a finger at them, "you giving me back of my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers and looked back at him and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk." This made the peddler angry, and he shook both his hands at them and said, "You monkeys, you giving me back of my caps." But the monkeys only shook both their hands and looked back at him and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you better giving me back of my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk." By this time, the peddler was really very angry, and he stamped both his feet and shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back of my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both their feet back at him and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk." At last, he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap and he threw it on the ground and he began to walk away. But then each monkey pulled off his cap. And all the gray caps, and all the brown caps, and all the blue caps, and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, and then the brown caps, and then the blue caps, and then the red caps on the very top. And slowly he walked back to town calling, "Caps are for sale, caps are for sale, 50 cents a cap." And that's the end of the story.